Hey everybody, welcome back to some more early morning barking, talking about BPD and MPD by somebody that has both. Today we're gonna touch on a touchy subject for a lot of us, I think. This one hits a few points and we'll go over it all, okay? Before we start, I'm aware that some of you out there will have had experiences with a parent that far surpassed my own in terms of how horrible they were. And I totally understand if while you're watching this, and I'm talking about where I am with things and my life and that sort of thing, if you're just sneering and laughing and being like, yeah, like I'm ever going to talk to that person again and all that stuff, there are degrees of this. But I think there are some things that we kind of all have in common, and I'm going to try and get on with those. Of course, I'm talking about having a cluster B parent. Now, I'm not aware of any statistics on this particular subject. So this is all subjective and questioning and all of that. Take all of this with a pinch of salt, right? Would it be reasonable to say that those of us who have some sort of cluster B personality disorder, whatever it is, also have at least one parent who could possibly also pass the criteria for cluster B personality disorders, whichever one they are? I mean, the two I hear the most are the BPD parent and the narcissistic parent. And I think the reason we hear I think these two things are very close sometimes. As I say, BPD and MPD are very close. They're very next to each other and interwoven and that sort of thing. It seems like while I do hear more about the narcissistic parent, I feel like it's going to be an interesting mix of the two in reality. As I say, purely speculative, no statistics, whatever. There may be statistics on this, but I don't know. See, for people of my age, I'm tail end of Gen X, right? And for us, particularly in my childhood, mental health wasn't a thing. It wasn't talked about. It wasn't taken care of. I just poked myself in the eye. It was just nothing. It didn't come along until maybe like the late 90s till we started thinking about mental health and that sort of thing. And so when it comes to my parents, the previous generation, the boomer generation, they had no mental health care whatsoever, right? Mine came along later in my late teens, early 20s, and then it became more and more of a thing until we got to where we are now, right? But for my parents, there's never been any sort of mental health care whatsoever. And the same will probably be true if you're about my age of your parents. And if you're sort of a younger millennial, your parents might be starting to get mental health stuff going on, you know, like there's kind of my age perhaps. Having a cluster B parent is nightmarish because not only are they cluster B, they are undiagnosed and they are untreated. They are just let rampant with their fears and worries and traumas and all of these things that they've been carrying their whole lives. You know how you feel? This is where we need to kick our empathy in, right? This is where it gets difficult for some of us, I understand. But if we're all made out of trauma and all of this, aren't they also made out of the same things? Haven't they been through the same crap we've been through just 40 years ago? That feels like a bit long, but you know, however long ago. It's a difficult thing to have that empathy for somebody who has in some way harmed us. You know, this is where we start touching onto this other bit of the debate of where does this all come from? Where do our problems come from? Is it nature versus nurture? Are we born this way, or is it something that's done to us? And I, as not an expert, I sit in the done to us camp. But if it was done to us by our parents, wasn't it done to them by theirs? How far back does this go? We have absolutely no way of knowing this, by the way. You can do your genealogy, all of this stuff. At no point does it say, oh, and they had borderline personality disorder. No one knows that about your great-great-great-grandpa, right? No one knows. No one will ever know. Right? Borderline personality disorder was defined in 1979. How many of your family were not around before 1970? A lot. And seriously, it's like just me, my generation. Me sat here. So you grow up with this parent or parents who have this unfettered, undiagnosed, rampantly running cluster B personality disorder. And they make us. They transfer all these fears, these worries, all the things that bother them are put on us. We're either taught to worry about the same things, or we're taught that, when those things happen, everyone better scatter. We grow up walking on eggshells. We know this fear of what mood are they in. We're hypervigilant. We're watching this individual subconsciously, eventually, I think. Just being aware what makes this person mad, what makes them angry, what sets them off, and having to live our lives around that. And as I say, this is on the easier end of the spectrum, right? When I think of my own experiences, there's nothing there ever that constitutes classic, stereotypical abuse. But I had this life. This life made me. This fear. And I'm told I've learned now it's a childhood trauma thing and all these other things that perhaps it is abusive in some ways and all of that. But it's unintentional, right? This is where it gets even stickier because I've been horrible to various people in my past for various reasons in various ways, right? I have played out my BPD and MPD and all its fears, worries, traumas, and splurged that out onto the world and the people who were closest to me. And I've gotten help, and I want some kind of, understanding. I want that second chance at life. I want that thing for people to say, oh, you didn't do that because you thought it was a good idea. You did that because you were actually really ill. And if I want that, see where I get sticky? Don't they deserve that as well? Like, don't they deserve looking at like a person suffering in pain that they don't know what to do with it? Because that's what we were. It's what we are. It's what they are. And once you realize this, once I realized this, it all seemed to change. It all seemed so different then with this realization of they're just feeling like I feel. The way they treated me, while it broke me, while it was the stuff of therapy 30 years later, it's why I have a channel now. Yes, it did that, right? But it was motivated by love and care. As odd as that sounds. When someone is worried about you that much, they love you that much. They worry about you because they love you. And when you realize that, how mad could I be? How cross could I be? And then that led me to my question that I ask a lot. What do you want from this situation? What did I want? What do I want now? And the answer was nothing, really. I didn't want anything anymore. There was a time when I wanted to hurt back. There was a time when I wanted to scream and shout and all of that, when I wanted, I don't know, almost revenge, I think. Compensation for what I felt had happened to me, for my childhood in some way. And now I want nothing. I want nothing. So why pursue it? Why say anything? Why go through anything? Why hurt them? Because this is the other thing. If I confront them and point out, you did these things hurt me and made me who I am and not the good parts, that will destroy them. That will devastate that person, because that wasn't their intention. That wasn't what they wanted to do. They were trying to love me. They were trying to look after me. They were trying as best they could to make things happen well for me. And the last thing that they wanted was to destroy everything or break something or whatever. And to tell them that would destroy them. So I don't want to do that. I'd rather just get on. It's hard, isn't it? And like I say, this is me, right? I'm not telling you what stage you should be able to get to with your cluster B parent. Because, look, there have been times when you think, I'm just going to stay away until they die. You know? I get that. And I'm sure there are times when some of us have thought worse things. Do they make us? I think they do. I don't think they mean to. And I think we can attempt to understand that. Whether we can forgive or not is up to us and our own personal situation. I don't think we can ever forget, because it's a part of us. It's who we are. And like I say, not the good bits, right? It's my BPD. It's my MPD. That's what it did to me. It gave me personality disorders. But I can move on. And like I say, I know that's just me. Of course, it took a lot away over the years. The relationship was never what it could have been. It was never a healthy, good relationship, as well as it could have been. And that's very sad. But I can't get that back. We can't change that. I can only try and claw things back. You know, when I think of the time that I've just never gone there, months and months on end, without speaking to them, all that time lost, you know? And it's not just me with that. I know similar things happened with them. And did similar things happen going back? Possibly, probably, in some way or another. The stuff that these conditions steals from us, that it takes away. And I don't want to hurt anymore. I don't want to lose anymore. But it meant that I left home as soon as I could. Like as soon as I could. And I always joked that it was so that we're both still alive now. And that's only half a joke, really. That's only half a joke. I question how things would have gone one way or another. when people living with the same condition live together and they're both unaware and both untreated and both undiagnosed. You know, when I think what some of you must be going through, it's horrible because I know what I went through. And that was horrible. But hey, they say it's not a competition. But that's exactly what somebody who would lose that kind of competition would say. So I don't know. Let me know your experiences growing up with cluster B parents. Maybe going forward, for future generations, things will be better. If I had kids now, yes, they'd have a cluster B parent, but I'm diagnosed, I'm treated. You know, I do have children in my life, and I like to think that I don't do anything cluster B like to them or around them or at all. And it seems to be going well so far, you know? So maybe, I don't know, going forward, people will get the help they need more often and things will get better. But gosh, we'll see, eh? You take care. I'll see you later. Bye bye.